Quite a different scene, but a very liberating one, if you can learn to enjoy it. Everybody has to die. You can't possibly call it a disease. You may die as a result of a disease or of an accident or anything, but death itself is not a disease. It is simply the other end of life opposite birth. And instead of regarding it as something to be put off and simply really disregarded, death is something for which one should train oneself as a very valuable experience. Because death is the automatic taking away of all your attempts to cling on to life. All that frightened clutch is simply going to be broken. Well, it's pretty rough to have it broken. Why don't you let go first? So in that case then, when somebody is about to die, instead of the friends and relations coming around and consoling him and saying, you're going to be all right, they come around instead and say, wowee, this is the great moment for you, you know. Here is the colossal opportunity for you to realize who you really are, because all that you thought you were is going to disappear. What do you suppose is going to be left? do you really let yourself go? Do you cooperate with what nature is doing in you? Nature is giving you, by death, the opportunity to let go of all this nonsense. Now, when you've passed the middle point of life, you can see it coming. You begin to read the obituaries, and this friend and that friend has disappeared. And you know it's on the way. Now, instead of avoiding this, what about it? Because nature is in this fact assisting you to let go of yourself, making it easy, what is very difficult for the young. It's hard for the young to face death, because they feel there's a timeliness about death. I'm too young to die. Cut off so soon. And there's so much promise, so much potentiality. It's very tough. But as we get older, nature helps us. We realize that, well, we've had it. Past the middle of life, every day is gravy. But you're being helped, you see, to this act of release. Though, as one of the Zen poets said, while living, be a dead man thoroughly dead, and then whatever you do, just as you will be right. So there's a kind of higher zombieism. Those who are dead while alive, those who have given themselves up to death, and will therefore look forward to death as the great enlightenment, the great awakening. And this requires no hocus pocus, no beliefs in immortality that you can't really be convinced about. It's simply that it's even better for you if you have no beliefs in an afterlife. If you're willing to let the future go completely and abandon any future. Anything that you could want to grasp for yourself or to preserve for yourself, you recognize that you're being forced to let it go. There is no promise of any future beyond the grave. See? I'm not saying that there isn't. I'm saying that the psychological state of not expecting anything, of facing death as if it were really the end, and you don't resist this. You end. You have the ability to end. This is central in Krishnamurti's thought. You find that if you do that, something flips inside you, as a result of which you have no further questions. You will say to yourself, well, now for the first time I realize what life is, what it's all about. Because I'm not looking to the future to answer my questions. I know there is no future. I end up like that, and all future is cut off. So if you do that, you see, you then can let go of yourself. Now then, if you can let go of yourself, especially in the second half of life, in that way, you cease to be rigid. What young people don't like about old people is that they're rigid. They're stuffy. It's like Ogden Nash wrote. The trouble with a kitten is that eventually it becomes a cat. And one understands this to some extent. It's very hard for, let's say, a woman who was once very pretty, is now afflicted with rheumatism and what have you, pains all the time, to put up with a great deal of noise and dance and stuff going on, and it just racks through your head all the time. And therefore you put on an expression that makes you look stuffy. But if you're not racked with pain all the time, you're enjoying a reasonably healthy old age, don't be on the defensive. So to this part of life, one must say, it is important to be a little mad. When a bridge built of steel doesn't swing in the wind, it's going to crash. It has no give. So likewise, people who don't have any give are in danger of being insane. In order to be sane, the stew has to have a little salt in it. The good human being has to have a little rascality in it. So the sane person, especially the mature person, must have a little craziness. Just as it says in the book of Genesis that God ordered that every seventh day should be a holiday, 1/7 of your life should be madness. Otherwise you'll be crazy. Because too rigid.
Quiet steps.
And therefore it's important for all of us who are set in our ways, who are habituated to certain patterns of life, and we cling to these, to get off it. Not all the time, but about 1/7 of the time. And learn to swing. And that means that the art of meditation, I would say, for the older people, not necessarily what the art of meditation is for the younger people. It's the older people who need to be present at a happening where you don't know what's going to happen, where anything might happen, where you simply allow what it is in you to do whatever it likes. Chinese sage Liezi, old gentleman, said, I let my mouth say whatever it wanted to say. I let my ears hear whatever they wanted to hear. I let my eyes see whatever they wanted to see. I let my feet go wherever they wanted to go. And then I didn't know whether the wind was riding on me or whether I was riding on the wind. After all, you are all practiced people, mature people who can be trusted upon to behave themselves, not like the monks of Siberia who burst from the cell and devour the father superior. You're all mature, and therefore you can trust yourselves to let go of it and to be a little mad. Now, I know that such a proposal goes ill with many older people's images of themselves as responsible citizens, mature people, so on and so forth. But you've always got to have that little secret part of your life. You don't have to do it out in front of God and everybody. See? That's asking too much. But you must have that secret corner in your life where you can be the skeleton in your own closet. And be crazy. Otherwise you won't be sane.
One suchness. And we're all one suchness. That means that suchness comes and goes like everything else because this whole world is an on and off system. As the Chinese say, it's the yang and the yin. And therefore it consists of now you see it, now you don't, here you are, here you aren't. Because that's the very nature of energy, to be like waves. Waves have crests and troughs. Only we, being under a certain kind of sleepiness or illusion, imagine that the trough is going to overcome the wave or the crest. The yin, the dark principle, is going to overcome the yang, or the light principle, and that off is finally going to triumph over on. Gee, supposing darkness did win out, wouldn't that be terrible? And so we're constantly trembling, thinking that it may, because after all, isn't it odd that anything exists? It's most peculiar. It requires effort. It requires energy. And it would be so much easier for there to have been nothing at all.
We do what we
Therefore we think, well, since being, since the is side of things is so much effort, you always give up after a while and you sink back into death. But death is just the other face of energy. And it's the rest, the not being anything around, that produces something around, just in the same way that you can't have solid without space, or space without solid. When you wake up to this, you are relieved of fundamental terror. That doesn't mean that you're always going to be a great hero, that you won't jump when you hear it bang, that you won't worry occasionally, that you won't lose your temper. It means, though, that fundamentally, deep down within you, you will be able to be human, enlightened men and women in the pains, difficulties, and struggles that naturally go with human existence.
find yourself. Waste not a minute. Master yourself. Master the enemy. Quiet steps. We do what we must. I will atone. Waste not a minute. Quiet steps. Extend yourselves. We do what we must. Where am I needed? Master yourself. Master the enemy. Find your center. Waste not a minute. We do what we must. Quiet steps. I will atone. Strike firmly. Extend. Find your center. Where am I needed? Find your center. Extend your senses. will atone.